It's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be better, I can't wait. Making my move, live for the day, sing like a bird, fly like a plane. Come spill with me, Jenny D.
Hello, my beautiful people. It's me, Jenny D from Spill With Me, Jenny D podcast. I am so excited to have another episode and for you all to be joining me today. May is Mental Health Awareness Month on Spill With Me, Jenny D. It's also Women's Health. I was so delighted. Wait till you meet my guest today. I'm so excited. Dr. Christine Herring. She is one of those people we just met, and I feel like our souls align. Her views, and just the way she talks to you. I told her she needs to be a motivational speaker because she really has made me feel at ease just talking to her off air. Dr. Christine, please introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers.
Hi. Well, I'm gonna model you. Hey, beautiful people.
Hey, that's my line.
I am super excited to be here. Thank you for having me on your show today, Jenny. And just by way of introduction, I just like people to see me as real people. But I'm going to give you a little bit of my background. Yes. I am a doctor, a doctor in education. I have my doctorate in language, literacy, and culture. I'm a mom. Yes. I have 3 beautiful daughters, Vanessa, Ashley, and Imani, all grown. And what makes them super, super special to me right now is all 3 of them are grown, living their own lives and out of my pockets. They are self-sustaining. And so that is wonderful.
You're like, okay, you're good to go now. Mom did her job.
Yes. And they are all 3 accomplished in their own rights. They make me proud every day.
Well, they get it from their mom. I mean, that's how they, think about it. Like we try to, they're in the nest. And then we say, okay, now it's time for you to go and spread your wings, right?
And they spread their wings and they have not come back unless it's for a visit. Yes. And I feel my husband and I did a really great job with that.
Bless,
right? I'm also a grandmother, a BB. I have 3 grandchildren.
You look too young to be a grandma. Hello, look how beautiful she is.
2 granddaughters, Marina and Marlo, and a grandson, Ace.
Oh, he's surrounded by all these women.
Yes, he is. I'm an educator. My career started in the classroom. So I've taught from pre-K through 6th grade over my career time.
Oh, and so you taught English or literature and...
as an elementary teacher, you teach everything.
Oh, that's right.
So I have taught all of the grades at the elementary level. And I would say my favorite thing to teach is emotional intelligence.
What?
I think that
I don't remember learning that.
Well, when you talk about mental health, yeah. I think that the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3 math, that most students are going to get that. But right. Emotional intelligence is so important. And I built a classroom culture where that was the focus on in my classroom, us building a culture, creating a family, and learning how to be good citizens, working on, because students as young as kindergarten can work on their mental health, working on our mantras, working on the head trash that when we come to school, we start to develop.
Right. Oh my gosh. Dr. Christine, tell me more about that. I'm so interested in that. You already knew back then that we needed to make this a priority with the young adults, yes. The young children.
Yes. And from being a mom and having my own children and them coming home and sharing different social events and things that were happening in school. And I'm not with them. So I had to give them tools to maneuver on their own because I'm not going to be there. And I would tell my same students, I'll help you. I tried to teach my students how to have their own voice.
Right.
So I can advocate for you, but I'm not going to be on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be at the bus stop. I'm not going to be on the recess, on the playground at recess in every social situation. So I will stand with you and help you so that you can then be able to do it by yourself. And I heard the word head trash. My husband Chuck and I were out to dinner with a friend, Pete Schramm, and he mentioned that word, and
head trash. I've never heard that. You know, I've never heard of that.
And I ran with it because I was like, oh my, that
Yes.
is so true.
Because in our head, there's all this trash. Like there's all that mindset of like the negativity. You know, I'm not pretty. You know,
I'm not smart enough. I'm not old enough. I'm not young enough. All of those things. I can't do it. You know, other people might refer to it as imposter syndrome, but I think head trash is a little deeper than that.
Yes.
Because head trash really prevents us from being who we are destined to be.
That's so true. It's so true. You're right. Like, because in our minds, you know, and I don't know if we've been taught at a young age, and it's changed so much. So for you to like see how like social media can really, that has really put a lot of toll on the young adults now.
Yes,
you know.
Yes. So I'm an educator at heart, and even though I'm now an entrepreneur, and sometimes I like to refer to myself as a solopreneur, but I always want to give a shout out to my team because when I say solopreneur, I don't mean I'm doing this by myself, because even in business, you need a village. It takes a village to be successful.
It really does.
So, but even in this journey that I'm on now, it is all about educating.
Right.
It's about educating businesses. I like to think about it full circle. I was in the classroom working with students and helping them, teaching them to be prepared to go out into the world and to move into jobs, into corporate America. Now I work in corporate America, preparing them for the next generation of students that are coming to them.
Right, it's a full circle.
It's a full circle.
Wow, that's
amazing. So I even though I'm a trainer and I'm a coach, I am a speaker, I am an educator, because all of that is just creating a lesson plan and implementing it.
Oh, that is so true. You make it sound so much. See, like you put it in simple terms, and it's so true. You come from being an educator, so with that, you're already doing the lesson plan. So in your head, anywhere, any job you do, you have to have that lesson plan.
Yep.
And you know, like you said, corporate America, you have the same thing. So after you were teaching from pre-K till, what'd you say, 6th grade?
Yeah, well, I bounced around. So, you know, I did, most of my time was spent in early elementary.
Okay.
So pre-K, K1, 2, and 3.
Oh, nice.
And then from there, I became the director. My next step on my journey was director of student support services.
Okay.
And that was a wonderful role, because I'll tell you a story how I got in that role.
Yes.
When I went into the classroom, I believed that I would always be in the classroom, because I love teaching, and I love making a space better than it was when I came in. And so every year I got a chance to have all these students come into my classroom and watch them flourish over a year's time and change and see their growth and their development. And one day I was at lunch with my youngest daughter, and she just frankly asked me, "Mom, why are you hiding in the classroom?" And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Oh my gosh, she said that?
She said, "Why are you hiding in the classroom?"
Our kids see stuff we don't see.
Yes. And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you're an amazing teacher, but only the students who are blessed to be placed in your classroom get the benefit of what you have to offer the world. And imagine if you were in leadership, you can impact policy, you can impact education on a much larger scale as just in the classroom." And I, of course, I got defensive, because I was like, I love teaching. I love being in the classroom. This is what I want to do. And she was like, "Yeah, but you can still do that, but you could do it on a larger scale." And I just think that we always would talk to them about maximizing their full potential.
Exactly.
And she basically was saying, "You're not maximizing your full potential."
I can't believe she said that. She noticed that. It's so true. If you think about it, you were in the classroom, and yes, you love the kids, you love what you're doing, but you have so much to offer that, she saw that, at a young age, knowing like, Mom, you could really impact the world with what you say, your words.
And she saw me, I would have student teachers. I was always leading something as a team leader, or,
Yes.
training, doing something that was above just being in a classroom. And so she wondered why I didn't strive for more.
Yes.
And that stuck with me, because my thing is that I can't tell them what to do, maximize your potential, be all you can be.
Right.
And then I'm not doing
Right,
the
you're
same
not
thing.
doing the same thing. Exactly.
And so when she said that, I came up with excuses at first, like, well, you know what? As an administrator, you don't get to, be in the classroom. It's not fun. She was like, what? Who says that it can't be? Like,
Right.
you make it how you want to be. She was giving me back all the things that I would tell them.
That's amazing. See, you taught her well, because if you think about it, we're complacent sometimes. As Americans, we have a job. Okay, you go to it every day, and you're getting your paycheck. You got to pay the bill, so you need this, right? But then, fast forward. I 3 years ago, I was like, okay, I need to do something for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt selfish because number one, should be a mom, and I should be concentrating on my kids and what they want to do. And yes, and trying to find your passion. And then your daughter knew, like, my mom has so much to offer, and her passion, she doesn't need to just stay at one place.
Yes. And what I found when I really thought about what she said to me is that there was a lot of fear.
Yes.
A lot of fear of, well, I'm good in the classroom. I know the classroom, but an administrator in charge of a whole school, or in charge of a whole department, in
Right.
charge of all the teachers, and I realized that I needed to at least step out of that space to give myself an opportunity to see, if
Can this
nothing
happen?
more,
Right,
can
'cause
this happen?
what does it hurt if you don't try?
Right.
We tell them, try.
And yes, and I believe in failing forward.
Yes.
So how am I teaching this to my students,
Mhm.
teaching this to my children, and now a mirror is put up to me, and I'm not gonna,
Mhm.
I got to, because next time I go to say something to her, she'll be looking at me like, wait a minute. And one of my biggest desires and dreams in life was to be an example for my daughters. And so anytime a challenge came, I
Mhm.
wanted to be able to take that challenge,
Oh, yeah.
so that I can have an example or a story to share with them. Because you can't tell a person to do something if you haven't, at least
don't practice what you preach, right? Is what they always say.
right. If you haven't at least not maybe done the same thing, but at least put yourself in a similar situation.
Yes.
So
It's a lot of lessons,
a lot of lessons.
a lot of lessons that we learn, even through anybody else's eyes. Somebody sees something different, or somebody sees your potential, and coming from your daughter is even so wonderful.
Yes,
And
and powerful.
It is powerful.
And powerful, because now it's like, I gotta at least go for this. I gotta go, and then I start questioning myself. Why haven't I? And then when it came down to it, like I said, it was fear.
It was.
And so now I learned, though, and let me make sure I get it right. Fear is not the absence. Courage is not the absence of fear. So courage is not the absence of fear. You can be courageous and fearful. So just because you're fearful doesn't mean you can't have courage.
Yes.
And so I had to, in the midst of my fear,
Yes.
find my courage to go out for another position. And I did. And I found out that I did really well. And that's how I ended up in the position of Director of Student Support Services.
Oh my gosh.
Which was an amazing position, because I was now responsible for support services for students in pre-K through 12th grade. Which gave me an opportunity to work at all levels. So if I decided later that I wanted to become a division head, I didn't pigeonhole myself into one division, or a head of school. I would have familiarity with all of the different divisions, working with all of the students and all of the teachers. So it was a wonderful position.
I love that.
And from there,
Is this Pittsburgh or is this in another state?
No, I've only lived in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so you're a Pittsburgh
Yes,
native.
so I'm a
Okay.
Pittsburgh native, and I've had the fortunate opportunity to work in public and private schools.
Oh, nice.
So I started my career in a private school, St. Edmund's Academy, and then I went to Franklin Regional Public School. I worked in the Pittsburgh Public Schools for a small amount of time. I worked at the Falk School. And then I let my teaching career in a K-12 institution ended with Sewickley Academy.
Oh, nice. Oh, so gosh, you've seen it all.
So I've been full circle between public and private schools, which has been really a blessing to me in my position now as CEO and co-founder of Hearing Seminars and Consulting.
Yes. So so tell us now. Okay, so after you were teaching and you were doing the role that you wanted, what made you decide, like, you know what, I'm going to start my own company?
A mixture of things. One, I found myself doing trainings because of the role that I was in. You do trainings, but then I started being tapped outside of the education arena and field, and people that I knew in corporate America started asking me to do some training on either diversity, equity, and inclusion, or inclusive leadership, or communication. And so what happened during COVID, we had our first grandbaby, and my middle daughter, needed support with our granddaughter. And so I found myself needing to have more flexibility to support my family, but I also found myself being pulled on to come in and do all of these trainings. And because we were in COVID, I could do a lot of it via Zoom.
Right.
And so I was training all over the country. And I found that was starting to be too much. Like I needed to figure out where do I want to go?
Yeah, you can't do it all.
where do I want to go? And the most important thing at that time was being able to have the flexibility to be there for my family. And I've never looked back. I have had a lot of support. My same daughter who said, "Why are you hiding in the classroom?" was that same daughter who helped me find my worth as a businesswoman, to understand how the jargon, and because she's in a lot of she's in corporate America, and she sits around a lot of tables, and so she knows a lot of the language, and so she was right there. And the nice thing, Jenny, is that the table got flipped. I got to learn from her. Yes. And she got to see me being a student and listening to her.
Right.
So that when we would have conversations and now I needed her to listen to me, I could come back and say, well, remember when I came to you and we sat down, how willing I was to take your advice?
Right. It's your turn. Isn't it amazing how much, this is what I've learned too. And, talking about COVID, I feel like we've all come out of that with a different mindset of like, you know what, I can do whatever I wanted to. I don't know. The unknown happened to us. So we were like, wait, hold on here. let me enjoy my life or do the things that I enjoy. But I feel like I listen so much better now with my podcast because being a podcaster, I think my mind was so scattered. Wait, I'm going to call it again. I had a lot of head trash. Don't be using that. That's Dr. Christine's line.
Actually, it's Pete Schramm's line. But I believe that once you give credit, the first time you use it, and then you can use it.
That's right. You do put that little underline. But yeah, you get into that head trash, and I've learned to sit there and in the moment, be in that moment with that person and listen. And we're never too old to keep learning, right?
Right.
So so she's teaching you because she's in corporate America about different things like that. So you're
yes. And it's, I am so blessed because all three of my daughters have contributed to my success. My oldest daughter is on QVC.
Oh
And so
yeah.
she, she's a host on QVC, and she was a reporter, and she did some anchoring along in her career. And she would help me with teleprompter and
Oh.
pacing.
Well, no
And
wonder you're such a great speaker.
well, she,
It's in the
I
genes.
listen, yes. And so, and then our middle daughter, she is she's a day trader, but she is very meticulous. And like if I needed someone to prove something for me, or to give me, like when I was working on my book, to give me, and she will give you the raw, real deal.
I
She'll
love
be
that.
nice about it, but she will say,
Yeah.
no, mom.
Yes.
And so I can go to all three of them to help me, along that journey. Or sometimes when I just need some motivation,
Right.
because, you can motivate others, but it's like we can slit our wrists and give, but you have to find that place where you come back for the self-care and taking care of your mind, your mentals, your physical, all of that. And so I've been
I love
blessed in
that
that.
too with your daughters too. It's almost like you're a sisterhood, and it's almost like your peers. You become like, a lot of times I always thought that my kids, especially because I'm on a lot of social media now, which I'm still learning, but learning from them. But I feel so like I'm able to talk to them more and have more in common with them because they are on social media. Hey, did you see that? Did you see? Hey, I posted this. Did you? I feel like with our children, when you friends, family, whoever you have in your life that's around you, that's giving you that push and motivating you to be better and to be something that you don't see. I felt like I was just a housewife, and my kids didn't see me as anything else but just, their mom. And because I gave up my career for years, to stay at home with them. And it comes full circle because now I feel like they're like, Mom, you're always gone. You're always doing something. I'm like, I always have time for you. But I love that your daughters are just so a part of your journey.
And the thing that in addition to them, when we talk about, you mentioned this is Mental Health Month, my books were designed so that people could address the head trash, and that came from the support of my husband.
Yes.
We were on a road trip, and my oldest daughter told me, if you're going to be a voice a thought leader, you have to be on some kind of social media platform.
Right.
And
yes.
Jenny, I was resistant. I was like, I don't want to be on social media. I just don't. She was like, Mom.
It's like television now.
Yes. Yes. And she said, pick a platform.
Right.
One platform. And so I said, okay, LinkedIn. And I said, I don't even know what to write about. She said, write about what you're interested in.
Yes.
Write about what you're passionate about, what you like. And so I started writing about inclusive leadership. And I got the great idea, Jenny.
You said
2 years ago.
Or
inclusive. Inclusive leadership. And I got this great idea. I was like, see, I don't just do something small. When I decide to do something, I go to the toppest mountain and then I just jump off. Even if I don't have my wings, it's like I grow the wings on the way down. So
can I go with you? But I'll be on your back, okay? You go first.
I decided that I was going to make an announcement on LinkedIn.
Ooh.
That I was going to.
When did this happen now?
This was 2 years now? This was 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Like 2023 or something.
Yes, I think it was 2000. It was either 22 or 23. I can't even keep up anymore.
Me neither.
But I New Year's Day, I did this announcement that I was going to do 52 weeks of inclusive leadership tips.
52 weeks, okay.
And after the second week, I said, why did I commit to 52 weeks? Because now I committed, I put it out there, I did a video and everything. Yes. I have to do it. And my husband and I, we were driving, we were on a road trip, and he said, you know what? You should think about repurposing your content.
Oh.
And this is the book that you've been wanting to write all your life, because I've always wanted, that was one on my bucket list, to write a book.
Yes.
And he said, this is your book. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, 52 weeks of inclusive leadership. Yes. You're going to have 52 weeks of content. You can put it all together in a book. So we started talking about it. One of my friends who was helping me at the time with my social media platform posting for me, you know, she was like, that's a great idea. And we just started kicking some things around. And then we met with one of our family members, their family, and my niece was talking about social media, and she said something about remix, like maybe doing some kind of remix thing. And so just taking everything that everybody said. Chuck is a big
I can't wait to meet your husband, by the way.
He's
he
amazing.
Sounds so wonderful.
He's amazing. He's my biggest cheerleader.
He is a very big supporter of you. And I
really
love
is.
that. I
He
love
really
that.
Is. And he is a lover of music, and music has always filled our home. Because growing up with, you know, 3 girls and a wife in a house, his thing would be, who's going to cry this morning? Because every morning someone cried.
Aww.
And we got through the good times and the rough times with music. And so music is our thing. So we decided to design my book around music, around an album. And Blue Note was the inspiration for the covers.
Yes.
You know, the design of the box was to be designed like a CD. And then the book there is 7 inches. So it was like the 7-inch round. So all of it was all related to music. And because music is universal.
It really is.
And what I wanted people to do was, when you read a tip, I also wanted it to be short because people are busy, and especially leaders.
Yes.
And I think of everybody as a leader. We're all leaders, 360-degree leaders. We lead from where we are, right?
Exactly.
And so I
love that. We're all leaders. Yes.
I wanted people to be able to pick it up, open it from anywhere in the book, and be able to get a tip, find the song that's connected to that, listen to those lyrics, because now if you embed those lyrics to that song, that's going to make the tip even more real.
That is so amazing that you said that, Dr. Christine. I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you think about it, I am terrible at like history. Like I don't remember dates or anything, but if you give me a song that I enjoy, that I love to sing, I know all the lyrics.
Yes.
So your mind, you know, when you see something on paper and you're listening to it and your body's feeling good and your mindset, you feel so good about it. Yes, music really does bring everything out.
It's all connected, right?
It is all connected.
And that is what my whole idea was, that the music would be the mental remix. So that's why Mind Jukebox is the name of the series, because our mind is like a jukebox. And we're always playing some song in there, right?
Yes.
Most of the time it's that negative song. It's that head trash. But now how do we remix that? Right. With a song and these are my songs. So I curated this list based on music that spoke to me. Right. And what I encourage people to do is that if there's another song that after you've read the tip that makes sense, that you connected to, doesn't have to be that one song, make your own playlist.
Yes. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there like can you give an example of a tip and a song that like is one of your favorites, or one of the ones that you feel like really speak to people?
This one was it's not one of my favorites, but it was one of the most helpful ones to me. I had a situation where I had to have a difficult conversation with someone. Okay. And the conversation was that we needed to part as business partners. Yes. And it was really hard. And in the way I believe in win-win, and I want everybody to feel good. Yeah. But I learned along the way that sometimes win-win doesn't feel good. So it still could be win-win. Yes. Like you're getting what's good for you, I'm getting what's good for me, but we might not feel good in it at this moment.
Right. Okay.
And so I learned that instead of doing it the way that I had attempted to do it, that I was just going to have to come out and have a hard conversation, understanding that it wasn't going to feel good. Right. And so the song that I wrote the tip around how do we, the title is, I can't remember the exact title of the track, but it has to do with making decisions for the better of the team. Yes. So sometimes we have to make a decision that's better for the majority of people. And one person or two people aren't going to feel good in that. Right. but if we do it with dignity and respect, and we do it in a way that we honor that person, then we've done the right thing, but it might not feel good. And the song that I connected to that was Neither One of Us Wants to Be the First to Say Goodbye by Gladys Knight.
Oh, you have to start singing it now.
Now that is not.
That's on your resume. She's a singer, author, speaker.
Now that is. One thing I do know.
She's going to have her own track.
You know what I do? That I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. And I can tell you, I can sing. I just don't sing well. So
I think everybody can sing. I so enjoy, sometimes I'll be in the car, your favorite song, and you're like belting it out like, wow, and it feels so good because nobody else is around to criticize you. But I love that you brought that up when you say about a tip. These tips are not just ones that are like motivational, like, oh, you're beautiful, you're great, you're this, you're that. You are giving tips for everyday life.
And everyday life
it's not always going to be.
It's not always going to be easy.
Roses.
And it's also, I made it because it's inclusive leadership. So people might think, oh, this is for the workplace. Yes, but it could also be applied in your home because you're a leader in your home. Right. Sometimes you have to make decisions for your family as a unit. Maybe you are a leader in your church if you belong to a church organization. Maybe you're a leader on a board that you serve. So it's not just in the workplace. It's wherever we have the opportunity to be leaders. There are tips to help us think about how do we do it in a way that we're seeing others and that we're being respectful,
right, and
we're valuing them, and that we're letting them know that we're in communion. Like we're letting them know, I see you.
Yes.
And even though we sometimes have to do challenging and hard things, because even as a mother, or as a father of a household, sometimes you have to make a hard decision, and it's not going to feel good. You put your child on punishment because, and they have to miss that thing that they've been dying to go to, and they got the outfit, and now they did something that there's a lesson in it, and now they can't go. You're not feeling good about that. They're not feeling good about it, but you had to make the decision.
Right. We always say, like, when you're a parent, you'll know what it feels like. And it's so true. There's not going to be, what I love about this too, is that communication. When there were for years, Dr. Christine, that I would just, mom's the word. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to cause any, controversy. I was always that person. I didn't want to start anything. I just was like, and if I was upset or mad, I would just keep it inside, internal. And that's not good, right?
No, that's not good at all. Because it's going to come out.
Yes.
You just are now not in control of when it comes out. It's going to be that one thing that wasn't that big of a deal that everybody is like, why is she all upset about that? But no, she was really upset about that and that and that and all the things prior to that you didn't say anything. Yes.
And it's so true. It's like, but now I've been full circle. I've come to that realization in my life that, I got to speak my mind. If something's bothering me, or if I see somebody and I, on the street, I don't even know she's a stranger, or I say, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Or, I'm giving that compliment. I'm not holding back. They might think it's strange, like, oh, hey, I love your shoes. Where'd you get them? Making conversation with people. Some people embrace it like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I've been having such the worst day. You just made my day by, telling her like her hair looked beautiful. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that we've been sitting in our own little, not world, but we are not, and I really think that this happened during COVID too, is we were so standoffish with humanity. And that's why I started this. I'm like, listen, we need to talk about some really important issues because we're all going through something. And I love that you started this because I feel like the music has really that's what we have. Yeah. We have that music in our hearts. It really comes out and brings out like the best in us.
And I have my playlist and I listen to my playlist. I can be having a day where, and I try to say I don't have bad days. I have maybe not good moments in a day. But if you look at it from the moment perspective, any moment you can turn around.
Right.
So if you're having a bad day, now you're like, if you say, I'm having a bad day and it's like 9:00 in the morning, does that mean the rest of the day?
I do that too. I do that.
Oh, the rest of the day is bad? Like, no, I'm having a moment right now.
Yes.
Now, how do I turn this moment around? And it's not easy. My youngest daughter, she cracks me up because she tells me a lot. that, she's of the generation where she talks about toxic positivity. And,
what does that mean?
I think, I don't know what she means when she says it, but what I gather from it is that I'm not giving her space to have her feelings.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm trying, like,
oh, you're great. You're this, you're that. You're giving too much when they want, like,
when she wants to just be in her feelings in that moment. And that took me some time to really respect and understand that. And so, now we have this way of talking about it through this visual of being neutral. You can be neutral, or you can be negatively passionate, or you can be positively passionate. But when you're neutral, you keep space for others to feel how they feel.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that, because I just had something happen yesterday that I just wanted to kind of stand on my soapbox and talk about something. And I found that my husband was giving me all this advice and why do you see it like that? And I was getting mad because I was like, you don't see my point of view, but all I wanted him to do was just, like you said, be neutral. I'm going to tell him that.
and that's hard sometimes. It's practice. And so I'm practicing. I try to practice with her because, but I also want her to understand. Well, let me go back. I want her to understand that being neutral, I can do that, but let's not stay in that space.
Right.
So yes, I don't want to be, when you need to have your feels, but let's learn how, like for me, it might not work for her or somebody else. I put a time limit on how long I'm going to allow myself to be negatively passionate or, like.
I love that. A time limit
so that I can move on to solving the problem.
So you don't like have that day where you just feel like, well, I have a bad day and it's a bad day, so it's just going to be a bad day.
Yeah, because now because any moment
I love
that moment. Any moment can be turned around, right? And so we can turn that moment around, and it's not easy. I always say to people, especially when I'm training or I'm speaking, I am not perfect. And so the things that I share, I'm a work in progress. They are things that I am still working on and learning. Yes. And I have to apologize a lot. But I'm finding the more I practice them, the less the faster I can turn it.
Right.
So the faster I can turn that moment, or the faster I can come back and say, you know what? I apologize. You were right. I'm sorry. I was all in my own space. I didn't create space for your needs, your feelings, your perspective, your point of view. And, then we can move on.
That makes so much sense. Can we just talk all day? You have such a great, what you're talking about, Dr. Christine. It's like, I feel like I'm learning so much just from you sitting here. I mean, you just the way you put things, it's so true. Like, why? I say that all the time. I'll be like, oh, I'm having a bad day. And why is it a bad day? It's a bad moment. I love that. Do you hear that, people? It's like, don't make, you spill your coffee all over you, or, something happens, or, I don't know, whatever. You get a tear in your dress. Oh, it's a bad day. No, that's not a bad day.
I'll give you a really good example of, how I had to interrupt that negative feedback loop.
Yes.
So this happened this week. I was grocery shopping, and I'm bringing all the groceries in. And last thing I left my car's in the driveway. I left my car, my purse, and my phone stuff in the car. I was going to get that last.
Right.
And I go back out to get it, and the car's locked. And I was like, car's locked. And in that moment, I know why my car was locked, because my husband locked it. Because if my car's not locked after I'm parked for a few moments,
right,
it sends a message to our phones, because we have an app, that your car is not locked. Yeah. And so then he locked it.
Oh shoot, but your phone was in.
But my phone was in there. So my first response. Do we
even have a home phone?
No, I don't have a home phone. So guess what my first response was? Why is he always, why would he lock my car? And my first response was, I got upset. Yeah. And I was like, I can't even call him. Oh my God. What am I going to do? And I needed to go to the post office because I had some packages. So I was unpacking them. And I was like, oh, and it was his birthday too. So I didn't want to be mad at him on his birthday.
You're lucky it's your birthday.
But I was so upset. But then I went and I sat on the bar stool. And I took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I can be really upset, or I can just listen to, I'll just listen to, and I was like, I don't have my phone. I can't listen to anything. And so, but because I allowed myself to calm down,
Yeah.
I was able to think. I got on my computer and I FaceTimed my daughter, and she answered, my middle daughter. I was like, Ash, call your dad, tell him that he locked me out the car.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, oh, I can send him an email. I sent him an email. Well, guess what we found out? If the keys are in the car, you can't unlock it from the app.
Oh my gosh. So that it turned into even more of a, you're like, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to practice what I preach. Get my music out.
So what I did though, is this is how I interrupted that negative feedback loop. I said,
tell me, because I need that.
I said, he locked my car because he is trying to keep me safe. That's why he locked my car. He didn't lock my car because he wanted me to be locked out, my phone in there. He didn't want me to, he didn't do it out of malice. He wasn't trying to give me a bad day. Right. He wasn't trying to
your moment.
So I said, okay, we need a plan though. So this doesn't happen again. So when he got home, and he actually, he kept calling me and realizing I couldn't get my phone. So he left work early. He called my daughter. He said, call mom, email mom and let her know I'm coming home. So he came home, got my phone and stuff out the car. He's like, I'm sorry. I thought, I didn't know your phone and stuff was in the car. I said, yeah, I was unloading groceries. I said, but in the future,
right,
if we're home together, lock it. If we're not home together and I'm out,
call me first. Yes.
Or call me first. Because it wasn't my fault, but I had said to him one night when we were home, he said, your car's unlocked. And I said, okay, well, just lock it. If it's unlocked, just lock it.
Yes.
So now he was doing what I asked him. So it's all these, what you said earlier, it's all this communication, right? So we communicate. He just understood, lock it whenever. If I see it unlock, I'm going to lock it. Right. Not thinking my stuff was in there.
Yes, it's true.
And instead of me, when he coming in, blowing up and being like, well, why would you lock my car? I knew he did it because he cared.
That's so wonderful that you sat back and you realized, because the first response for anyone would be like, oh my God, we would be so, but if we sit and really rationalize it and think about why he did what he did, then you're like, well, he didn't do it because he wanted me to not get my day going or screw up my plans or my schedule. It wasn't out of like, what did you say, malice? Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't. And I was able to just turn it around. So I sat down and just turned the TV on for a minute. And just, I was like, okay, well, I can't go anywhere. I don't have my phone.
It's sometimes, excuse me, I was like joking on me. Sometimes I remember going to a baseball tournament a couple of years ago, and I forgot my phone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have my phone. Sometimes it's kind of like, okay, I don't have my phone. I have a little bit of like, wow, I have me time here.
Yeah.
I'm not constantly looking at my phone.
Yes. So easy to turn them. It's easy to do and it's easy not to do.
Right.
It's making a choice. And once we continue to make those choices where we're interrupting those negative feedback loops, then we can start to do it more and more and more often. And there's a word, I see you like little notes.
I know. I'm like a
write this down.
Reporter.
RAS. This is what I have found.
Okay.
And that's a neurological term, and it stands for reticular.
Oh, I can't
I know,
spell.
you don't have to spell it, but reticular, because I can't spell it either. Reticular activation system. Ooh, okay. And when, just think about it through the terms of my RAS has been open. It's like when you go buy a new car, and when you drive the car off the lot, you see the car everywhere. Like you never saw it, but then all of a sudden you got that car, and now everywhere you see it. So it's like some of the stuff we're talking about today, your reticular activation system has been open. And so the next time you say, I'm having a bad day, you're going to think, well, wait a minute.
Dr. Christine said it's a moment. It's
I'm
not
having
the whole
a
day.
moment. It's not the whole day. It's not the whole day. It's this moment.
Okay, so at 9:00 at night, can I say I had a bad day?
No, I'm having a bad moment. Because the rest of the day was fine.
That's true.
See? We can't get out of it.
One little thing, we make that like the stand out in our day. Instead of like, you know, you met somebody new, or, you know, something, you know, the sun is shining. Like, you know, it's something like putting things in perspective. Tell us more. Okay, so how many books do you have right now? So people out there are listening, they would like, because now I'm like, I need to read a lot of these different topics and a lot of these different tips to help me through the day.
So Mind Jukebox is a series, it's a trilogy, and there are 3 books.
Okay.
You can buy each volume separately, or you can buy the box set.
Oh, get
that
the
comes
whole
in
box.
a
It's
nice
so
box
nice.
set.
Wait, we'll show you pictures and stuff of what it looks like. Now, where would they get this at?
They would get it at hearingseminars.com at /mind jukebox.
Okay. And, you know, I was going to say, like, anybody listening, that because this is nationwide, so somebody from another state, they could get that, and somebody you could.
Yep, and it's free shipping.
Ooh,
Yes, it's free shipping.
I love that.
And our middle daughter was the reason for that, because she said, "Mom, I hate to pay for shipping."
I know.
She was like, "Offer free shipping. It's worth it. It's a nice value add."
Right.
And I was like, "All right." See, I listen to my kids,
and you learn from that.
I learn from them. And you know, something I want to say though, Jenny, is that you're talking about Mental Health Month, and I never want to minimize that there are some times when people are struggling, and no matter what the tool is, it doesn't work for you because of where you are in that moment. I don't want to minimize that, because I know there have been periods in my life, like I suffer from anxiety.
Yes, I do too.
And so there have been periods in my life where the best way to describe it is that I was on the floor and I couldn't get up.
Right.
And I knew I needed to get up. And I'm like, get up.
I know.
But I can't get up.
Right.
And so it's been years of therapy, years of at times medication, years of personal development, all of these things that have gotten me to the point that I am right now, but everybody's journey is different.
It's different, right?
And so what works for me now might not work for someone else.
Right.
And so I never want to give the impression that I'm saying, oh, you just do this, we never have a bad day.
Right.
I'm saying these are things that work for me, but it has taken me years along my journey to get there, and my family's support.
Right.
And so it's just very important for me to put that out there also, because sometimes you do get on the floor and you can't get up.
And I appreciate you being real about that, you know, and I do that with my listeners and viewers too. Like, you know, I never use that word perfect, because that word does not exist. But, you know, we do have our bad days, and I've struggled with it as well. And I'm sure there are people listening that may be struggling with it right now. And it's hard sometimes, you know, but you have to kind of find that tribe of people that are going to support you and get the help that you need, you know. But no, I mean, with what you're doing and full circle, you know, and I think when somebody sees you, Dr. Christine, you're just so put together. You look beautiful. And, you know, I think people think, oh, Jenny, she's always happy. But we have our own struggles in our lives. And, you know, we want to make sure that, mental health awareness is about, you know, everybody and about your needs. And we all have something different that may be traumatic that has happened to us in our lives. But yeah, I mean, just what you're doing though, you're helping so many people just by what you've learned, you know, and like you said, we're learning every day. So those are the 3 that you have right now, the jukebox. So tell us about your plans now. I know we're going to probably be wrapping this up soon, but I'm like, I don't want to stop talking. What are you doing now?
So Hearing Seminars and Consulting is my main company. And then we have another.
What type of people are you looking for that? Like,
I'm sorry. Yeah. So you know how you just assume people know what you do.
Right.
So Hearing Seminars and Consulting is a company where I do inclusive leadership training for organizations, for mainly executive leaders, because I believe that transformation starts at the top. And then if you believe in something and you're working to be that type of leader that's inclusive, that's working on your communication and all of that, then that's going to spread throughout your organization. So I work with organizations helping them figure out ways to keep good talent, retention. So the things that I do impact retention, it impacts productivity, and it impacts morale. So people feel good and they want to stay. And so my training does that. My training transforms organizations. So it's not a one-off. Usually when I work with organizations, it's for anywhere from 6 to 18, 24 months.
Okay.
So that we're building a relationship, a partnership, and I'm helping with coaching, with training, all of those things, seminars. And then I do executive coaching as well. So I have some clients that are just individuals that, you know, like what I do, have heard about me and that have reached out and want me to do coaching with them on transitions, whether it's career transitions in their life, things of that nature. And I do a lot with communication coaching. I have another company called FlexCom. And FlexCom, we have our own proprietary communication tool that we use to help people identify the 4 ways they communicate and then learn how to flex between those 4 ways so that you get the outcomes that you want when you're communicating.
Oh, I love this. Now, you don't have to be in person. Like, you can have people that
On Zoom.
You can do it on Zoom, online. Oh, I love that.
Yes.
So that's what you're currently doing now.
Yes. And Mind Jukebox is not just a book series, it's a movement. And so my goal is to get my books into as many people's hands as possible so that they are incorporating that music, creating their playlist and using music to help with their leadership and with their communication and just their everyday interactions with people, how you're showing up and how you're interacting with people that might show up differently than you.
Right.
And I'd like to, at some point, right now I'm really busy, but I'd like to continue the
you don't
Mind
sound
Jukebox.
busy at all.
I like to continue the Mind Jukebox and have like Mind Jukebox for kids, Mind Jukebox for teens, Mind Jukebox for moms. Like that's my
I'm going to have you back on about that too.
My larger project.
I just see so much in you. You know, you motivate me to do better and to do things too. I just love what you're doing. And like you said, it's full circle, you know, and we're so excited because both of us are going to be part of the Brave Women Project, the Pillar Awards, which is in November. Dr. Christine is the MC and I am the red carpet reporter, I guess you could call it. So we are going to have a blast.
Yes, we are.
Of course, I'll be wearing my pink. I got to find an outfit for that. But I'm so excited that we're going to be doing that. And I would love to have you back on again. Like if there's anything that you haven't talked about that you would like to bring up to the listeners and viewers. But I'm just in awe about you.
I just would like the listeners to, I like to leave with this. This is my favorite thing that I remind myself every day. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry. Comparison is the thief
of joy. And life is short. And I just feel like every day I want to experience joy. And I've been working really hard to realize that the only person or thing I need to be in comparison with is with myself.
Yes.
And when I do that, I feel like I'm pretty great. And so I'm winning.
Yes. I love that. I love that because you're right. Like a lot of times, I see somebody else who's doing the same platform or doing that, but I can't think about what they're doing. I love that you say comparison is a thief of joy. Write that down. It's so true. Oh, Dr. Christine, this was so much fun.
Yes.
You are such a joy and a delight. And I feel like I've learned so much in this 50 minutes of talking. And especially, with we were talking about May, Mental Health Awareness Month, and what you're doing to kind of full circle, bringing people together to let you know that, music can cleanse the soul. Absolutely. Can bring you back to the good times. Think about the songs that really, from your generations, that's just made you feel good.
Yes.
And your consulting business and everything that you're doing. I just thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you for having me. Again, if you're interested in Mind Jukebox, please visit us at hearingseminars.com/mind-jukebox.
Perfect. And I'll have all that information underneath if you didn't get all that. And yes, I'm just, I'm excited, and I think we're going to have so much fun, and we'll let you know about our November Pillar Awards. We're going to have just a blast with that. So
Thank you, Jenny.
Such a treat
Yes,
today.
Yes, it was.
Thank you, my dear. This was another episode on Spill with me, Jenny D. Take care.
Come spill with me.